publications, latest memoirs, and newspapers. This is important in order to understand the lived experiences of prisoners, how they reacted to, coped with, and challenged the colonial establishment. Nigeria's prison system, I'm now looking at the contribution and the humanity contribution of this society. Nigerian prison system is still grappling with the many problems like jailbreaks, protests, prison congestion, hunger, and infrastructural decay. In work plan, you did caution that we try as much as possible to tabulate. I think that was the first presenter to tabulate our work plans. That I have done, and is no longer in a written form as it is in what you have. So I've showed the activities, the months, and what I'll be doing within this period. And I did state that it is important to know that a large volume of archival documents on prisons were collected during the writing of my thesis on the colonial Igala economy
coming out
and
of
society.
Your PhD, yeah?
Not directly, but related.
Okay. Yes, related.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is left is to do a further search of colonial files across the divisions in Kaba province at the archive. Yes. So where I think I have not done justice to it is where you were talking about that it is not just good enough to say you are going to revise or the work, you know, and so what? How is it going? How are you going to do it? That is a question I have not answered. And so, judging myself, I would say I have not answered that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your input. To begin with, I'm glad that you are now able to read and analyze and assess your own work that presented was lacking in some details and maybe in structure or in where to put what where. That is a very important sense that each one of us should have in the course of our writing, in our revision, and so on and so forth. Now, I want to come to the topic, and here I'm going to involve the participants, those who come from Nigeria, you know. As I mentioned in my presentation, you, the researcher, may be passionate about a topic, but what about the others? I want to hear the voices of others in relation to this particular topic, because from perspective, we are going to already judge how, I know exactly how I feel it, but I feel about it. Let me ask people in the house, people in my breakout, to give me a sense of, you know, what is the, you know, we are talking of the worth of this work. What is the worth of this work in the context of Nigeria? Of course, you have given us excellent background that this study is sitting on so many other, you know, related studies in this area, you know. But now you are coming. This is filling a gap that you are filling in Nigeria. I want to hear the views of people in Nigeria about this study.
Okay.
Can I hear Abu Bekar? Is he muted?
Yes, he's muted.
Yes. What about CD? Can you unmute, please? Maybe the IT can unmute him. I don't know. Yeah, but it will be very important, because when we assess applicants' work, sometimes there is a section in the application, in the assessment document to us, especially people who are coming from the locality, to give a sense of evaluation from the perspective of, you know, someone who is an insider. That is the kind of thing I want to, because for me, I mean, I see the value. So that's why I want our participation in there. Is CD or Bubeka now available?
Let me see.
No. Are you with us?
She's not. Abubakar is still muted.
Oh, yes. Let me send. We'll even see the chat. Abubakar, unmute yourself, eh?
Yes.
Please. Since we are few, I think we can all afford to be unmuted.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Abubakar, are you there? Unmuted? No. Hello. So, anyway, your paper
Hello.
there. Yes, are you
Okay.
unmuted?
Okay.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, can I rephrase the question?
Well,
You had
yes,
it, eh?
what's the question?
Okay, please, you're welcome.
So, my problem is I couldn't get you on time. I just
No, excuse me. Sorry, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking now. We are looking at Abba's proposal. The question I asked is, what is dealing with here? What is your take on it as an insider, as someone from, in terms of the value and the worth of this work? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I came to watch at the presentation. I couldn't get it on time.
Okay, okay, all right.
So I wouldn't know what's the topic and where is he heading to. And the topic is very critical here.
If Prof, if we still have time, I wouldn't mind representing.
Just briefly, because we have only 30 minutes for you, and then we will have another person. But this is okay. Yes, go ahead. To give a gist of, don't go into the detail like you did. Just you know, yeah.
Oh, okay. My study is looking at Native Authority Prison Administration in Kaba Province of Northern Nigeria, 1926 to 1960. And the main thesis of this research is to argue that the functionality of prison as a tool for reformation was absent in the colonial context, and that the colonial prison system in Kaba Province of Northern Nigeria fundamentally served as a tool in opposition, subduing nationalist forces, harnessing cheap labor, and warehousing problem population, including criminals, lepers, and lunatics by Britain. The core claim of my project is that the British colonial authority, in order to maintain colonial order and control crime, built 7 prisons, Native Authority prisons in this province, where both convicts and those awaiting trials were housed. These prisons suffered from overcrowding, recidivism, escape, death, hunger, and shortage of personnel. To contest the poor conditions, prisoners negotiated and challenged the colonial order through petitions, protests, revolts, and letters. Yet, the voices of these prisoners in Eastern literature in the history of prison administration in Northern Nigeria remain sparse and neglected. So, contextualized around major global and local events such as World Economic Depression of 1930s, First and Second World War, famine, pandemic, and the national struggle, this project examines the history and challenges of colonial prison system and offers lessons that can be learned for understanding the prison system in contemporary Nigeria.
Okay, Abba, and you know that's for me, for example, say in a sentence, really what is the kernel, what is the heart of the matter in this research?
The central focus in this study is to look, to examine the history of the involvement of Native Authority administration in prison administration and how the prisoners reacted and negotiated their way with the colonial establishment.
Okay, to examine this phenomenon, for what purpose? Because that will just put that way, that will just frame the heart of the matter. For what purpose are you examining this phenomenon? Because that is what constitutes the problem, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Where is this other noise coming? So for me, what I want to ask about Abubakar and Sidi is the worth of this study. What do you say about the worth of this study, the value, what it sets out to do? I think from what Abba has explained, now it's clear. You can judge, you can have a voice about what you see as the worth of this study. Yes, Abubakar.
And then you use your sense of balance because, for instance,
okay, what we are going to do, let us go through. Abba, thank you so much for your elaboration again. And let's just go through my comment. One, I think, of course, for one to begin to write within the structure that is provided by AHP, you know, this statement will be like, you know, something that is scarcely and clearly put. It's not even going to be elaborated this way. For example, your first paragraph here, which you put in the introduction, suppose you rephrase it and follow the structure that is required. This first paragraph would be the equivalent of the size of the thesis statement. Do you get?
Okay.
So every other thing which is here will be shaded and go somewhere where it belongs. So the thesis statements will be something like crystal, standing out there very clear. It doesn't have, you know, the flamboyance of so many things surrounding it. It stands out clear. And in terms of, if I may talk of space, it's just as big as this little, you know, paragraph. Okay?
Okay. Or noted, Prof. Yes, Prof. I'm with you.
Yes, that is, as long as it is so clear, one paragraph. That's it. That's the thesis statement. Because like you have said, the elaboration of the things, the key questions that emerge and the things that you're going to deal with and so on can be accommodated in what is referred to as the body, as you rightly pointed out. So in my reading, some of the things that you have here in your present introduction will belong elsewhere. For example, I said, you know, in parts I said this doesn't belong here. This belongs more to a place of theoretical framework where you're dealing with issues of method or methodology. That's where you can slot in things to do with theoretics. So what I see in your paper is you do have many things here, everything here. What you need to pay attention to is to restructure, reorganize, and put them in the right places. And in this regard, you were your first judge when you realized that, yeah, you didn't put it in the structure. In fact, Professor Okunoye says he's going to have that guideline circulated for your need, where it states clearly what does the thesis statement compose of, what does the body compose of. So each one of that will fit in there. And in fact, in the 1 point Times New Roman 11, supposed to do all of this bit that we have here just in basically 2 pages, you know?
Yes.
That means you are going to tease out really the crystal things.
Exactly.
And not, and not have what is unnecessary. So for me, that is it. And when I reached very much like when you put here as the thesis here, I said this sounds very much like part of the body in the structure. It's where some of the equations are expressed. So again, the things are here, but where they belong. It is likely to move in the body, and then see, very that you explained. You said it will examine in the administration of prisoners, and this short paragraph here.
Yes.
That's a two sentence paragraph. This belongs more for me in the thesis statement because it states exactly what it is that you're going to do. So once you have that structure, it will be very, very useful. And this is what I say, diverse literatures on history and so on. And I say this appears here, but it looks like a literature review section. Yes. It's more like an effort at related literature.
Yes.
Yes. And then, yes. And also this paragraph now again is not clear for me because I said, is it scope? Is it what? It's not clear. So you will have to, it's a lot of mix here. Literature review, scope, what? They're all mixed here. So for you, and I'm glad that you have started cleaning up already your document and you have a new version of it already. So as you keep on working at it, you know, within the structure that is provided, you will just see for yourself how well it will work because it will be not time consuming. The information can be easily found by the reader. The way, remember, these readers are reading so many applications within a certain very short time frame. And so you have to present your document in such a way that it will not stress. It will not stress your reader.
Okay.
Exactly. So that you know what it is. I mean, we do these things. You are examiners. Yeah. You know how a well written document makes you really read and without getting tired. Yes. So that sort of thing. So pay attention to. And then you will pay attention to this. Yes. Now, what is outcome? It is something already. Now, the work plan you said is 8 months.
Yes,
in fact, AHP actually says you can do this between 10 and 12 months. In its guideline. So the point I'm flagging this is, you know, like we say, this is a competition. When your work is viewed against others, other people who have a clear sense of how they are going to use their time, and they have a sense of how engaging this work is, because a research work really is supposed to be demanding to a certain extent. And then the person says, I'm using like between 10 or a whole 12 months. A reviewer will just say this person has a sense of the difficulties.
The tax.
A research in depth of this. You can't rush this sort of thing. So if your minimum time is 10, say 10 and 1 and 12, you might be well to say that. But more important than that, more important is I want to pay attention to how you present your work plan usually in the AHP. Usually the work plan is, again, as I see here, the structure, part of the structure here is missing. What is missing in your structure is the significance. I think here you didn't, the significance is not here, but the significance is not what you will see in that structure. But here, I think here you say this project will last, the first 2 months will be used to do this sort of anthropological, ethnographic research and so on and so forth. Usually, the transparent structure is kind of that one, which is put in a kind of table form.
Tabular form, yes. The new version I have now is in a tabular form.
Wonderful. That's right. That is good because the reviewer sees clearly how you're moving from this month to do what is happening between this month and that and that and that. And then when you have done your best, now that's it. The rest is not yours. The rest is just waiting for a good result to happen. But that is after you've done your best. And of course, sometimes like we know that there is, they said they take between 35, for example, and 50 applicants yearly. Those are the ranges.
Okay.
Out of the so many, yes. And so, depending on the quality of applicants, it might be for 35 or it might be 50. That's the range. So you try your best to be in the range. Okay.
Okay, Prof.
So that's input for your work, but in terms of really value, this is the valuable research.
Thank you.
It's valuable research, this nature, because you remember what I talk about a research that ripples.
Yes.
That has a ripple effect. This has a ripple effect because it's situated in Nigeria. It's talking about the Nigerian situation of prisons and in the colonial era and so on. But these things were all over and beyond Africa. So the people who will be able to relate with their research will not only be Nigerians, they will not only be Africans, they will be global, because this phenomenon is broad. So research topics of this nature that, and then of course, when you use a certain, what did you say? What theoretical framework did you say you're using? Theory. Did you explicitly mention a theory as yet? You know,
no.
I'm asking this because over the years, interacting with historians, I've got sometimes the way we see things is a bit different from the way historians see it, especially when it comes to application to theory like that. So that is a discipline-specific thing. But what I was trying to say is that depending on here is the methodology, you use the historical methodology or whatever as you call it, which is something anybody across the world who is in your discipline specific area can relate with. And they can put that point that your research should make your colleagues in the discipline recognize you as having arrived with new knowledge that builds that body that they are part of, that rhetorical community we are talking about. So that's why I was talking of the theory thing, but yours is within the historical research, theoretical thing. So it's okay. So for me, it's a viable research because the issue it tackles is that, but now what you have to do is to make it stand out as such for the person who reads it, and especially as you state the problem, especially as you state the value, so that we can buy into it without hesitation. Okay.
Okay, Prof.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Any
so
comment
much.
from us? You're welcome. Any comment from us on this presentation?
Hello. Yes, madam.
Yes, Sidi?
Yes. I have listened to the researcher and the topic. I want you to take note of the recent change in the nomenclature of prison system in Nigeria. Even though periodization stopped before the present time, the prison houses are no longer called prison houses. They are now called correctional houses.
Very important.
I want you to take note of that, correctional houses.
I think that's a very valuable information, and especially from what I read in your document about these prisons in the colonial context were not used as correctional houses. They were used as, punishment and stuff like that.
Yes.
So the comment he has given is really very, very useful.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sidi.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other comment? Good. Otherwise, we can say we have given this paper, our 30 minutes, and also, yes. I really, we will be very happy to see you among the what.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Advantage of
Thank
the
you.
things that you will also see in the coming days.
Thank
yes,
you.
Please.
I'll be so glad to have your comments and contact so
I'm
that
going
after.
To send, I have seen your address there. I'm going to send it to you.
All right, Prof.
Yeah.
As soon as I fed the corrections, I will revert. I'll send back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move to the next person. And now I see we are 5 in the house. Maybe we need 1 or 2 more people. Let me look at our list and see the next presentation. Okay. Yes, I think we are moving from Abba to Eraba. Yes. Is Christiana here?
No.
Who is here? I can see Abubakar is here, but do I have? Yes.
And CD.
Okay. And CD. Let's see what proposals I have. Hey, you know the proposals I have of Ezeugu, Musa, and Noamo. Is any of you here? Because these are the proposals sent to me. Eh?
They are not here. I think you should revert to the host to notify
yes,
the host.
That the people I have, it's only you then. Because yes. I'm supposed to have a rubber. Let me just revert there. But in the meantime, we can talk about any issues that you may want to raise as I send a line to the host.
Okay. Yeah. Prof, like in articulating the significance of this study,
yes.
apart from arguing that this should be an extension or a modification of existing extension of discussion or debates in the Nigerian penal system beyond what we already know. How is as a reviewer of AHP, how else do you expect to see the significance of a study within the fact that this aspect has not been researched, and even that the knowledge that we have had been researched from a statist perspective?
Yes. Now that's an important question. A significance to go beyond saying that this thing will expand knowledge in this discipline, which is what is usually broadly put.
Yes.
How does this research help in concrete terms in understanding the human condition? Let me put it broadly like that. The human condition, in understanding humanity in the context of the prison study that you are dealing with. That's an area where you will see you are significant in, because as a humanities scholar, you are dealing with making people, like this research you're doing is making us understand something. It's not particularly solving problem in the empirical sense, but it is understanding something in the area of our humanity. So you are going to frame your significance also in that respect. Okay? Yes. What are we going to know, appreciate more and better about the prison conditions in that part of Nigeria during colonial times that we are not aware of? And now you're going to have even narratives from different people and so on. I think definitely that we will. It is going to enrich our being human when it's going to move us to deeper understanding of the condition of a situation that in the past history. Enhance our humanity towards this category of people. Those voices, like you say, have never been heard. They are not like part of your first situation. We are left with 41 minutes. Let me try to say, Prof. Yes. Let me write to him, eh? I don't have the right people. Their name.
You wouldn't. That the to chance so maybe going to got the opportunity. That's right.
Yes. So that's it. I've just sent a word to Prof. Prof. Edgar, and let's see what happens. But in the meantime, if there are, other issues to take on, even from those whose proposals have not reviewed, who can talk about their own work, what gaps they have already learned, and how they have assessed their own work, and how they could do better. We could just keep talking about this perspective as we wait for Prof to respond, and otherwise tomorrow we will have 4 people. That will be a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be too much. Yes.
Do you want to say something?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
This is Dr. Abubakar Kahu.
Yes.
Mine is on my own research seeks to evaluate the administrative and academic achievements of Almajiri schools in North Central geopolitical zone of Nigeria. You see, what happens is that during the Jonathan era, 2010 to 2015, Almajiri model schools were established by the federal government of Nigeria, more especially in the northern zone of the country. And we have such schools spread in north central geopolitical zones. What happens is...
What kind of schools are those? The Almajiri school.
Almajiri schools. Almajiri here signifies those out of school children. When I mean out of school here, out of formal school children.
Yes, yes.
Only exposed to Islamic learning, Islamic knowledge.
Okay, yes.
Yes. And they are not exposed to the formal educational system, which is approved by the government. So in a bid for these children to have access to quality education, the administration established what we call Al-Majri model schools in various parts of the country. And to the best of my knowledge, I have not seen a comprehensive research talking about evaluating the administration and the academic achievements of these children after the establishment of these schools. And what we wanted to do is to assess the infrastructural facilities in those model schools. How far have they provided that? How have the government provided that? And also to examine the sufficiency of funds in Al-Majri model schools in North Central geopolitical zones, and to determine the enrollment, transition, and completion of pupils in Al-Majri model schools in North Central geopolitical zone. We also want to ascertain the maintenance culture, the model schools in the zone. We also want to examine the adequacy of public enlightenment and social mobilization for effectiveness of Al-Majri model schools in North Central geopolitical zone. We also want to evaluate the monitoring, supervision, quality control in Al-Majri model school in North Central geopolitical zone. You see, before now, we have Al-Majri schools spread throughout northern Nigeria. As far as we are concerned, history has it. For example, Fafua in 1975 postulated that by the time the colonialists came into Nigeria, they were able to identify about 128,000 of such schools spread throughout northern Nigeria. And theirs is not tilted to Western education. Their own education is tilted to Eastern education, the Islamic education, Quranic education. Every parent wants his child to be educated in this form. And this system flourished up to today. But the problem is, when they finish from that school, where do they go to? The employability becomes a problem. So now, the federal government, through the National Policy on Education, wants what we call integration of this Al-Majri schools into modern system of education, whereby they will not lose their own Quranic education and will also benefit from modern educational system. So with all these things put in place, with all these aspirations put in place by the federal government and other state governments, how much have they fared in this bid? You see, what prompted this research is that when you sometimes visit or see, I am an expert in Islamic studies, and I have an organization.
What is your area? What is your area, Abu Bakr?
My area is Islamic studies. I had PhD in Islamic studies.
Yes,
and I interact sometimes with these teachers or proprietors of this school. And their complaint is always, we don't have books, we don't have teachers. They promise just the state universal basic education promise bringing in what we call teachers, the teachers of English, mathematics, social studies. But at the end of the day, they hardly sent one or two to them. Those who were fortunate, they sent some to them. I was opportune also to be what we call technical coordinator of Almajiri system of education. That's a new bit.
Okay.
In such way, in such a matter. So that when we look at the achievement, that will assist us to even know the pilot study Universal Basic Education Commission is putting on in some states, some 9 states. What is happening is the ones established before, are they failing? And why are they thinking of another way out? This of that. This research is significant in several aspects. One, the government will know where to put its resources for effective development of the country. And Islamic scholars would be assisted to promote studies and the moral values in the society, and so on and so forth.
All right. Thank you very much for your elaborate explanation of your subject area. So from what you have said, we've got a sense of what your subject area is, dealing with this issue of, how these schools that have been established within a certain time frame are doing. And you've raised so many questions here. But for me now, like an outsider, and I'm going to put in these questions, and I will invite also, like we did with others' presentation, your colleagues also give their input. One is that before you start asking all these questions, I mean, before you begin to think of why is this happening, there must be like a central question, a problem. So what is the problem with these schools that makes you want to understand further, that makes you want to ask these questions, so that when you are stating your thesis statement, this will be captured there very clearly. What is it? Yes, because and now what I see as a challenge for you as a researcher, which can also be an advantage, but also a challenge, is you are part and parcel of this school, as it were. You are involved in some way, right? In evaluating, in assessing, I don't know. So you are to a certain extent an insider. Now, along the lines of what I talked about, how can you present this problem, which you have still to state, you haven't stated it, as a research problem? It is true that these schools have been established, they are complaining about this not being there, and so on and so forth. And so now you want to assess. But that's not exactly the research problem. Yes, so you will have to state the research problem in your thesis statement, and then ask the question also, like, why is it important for both the local and the broader, like I've said, why would it be important for the local people, beginning with yourself. It's very important for you to understand this. You have a passion, you have interest to ensure that you understand what is happening. But this will be a research question that other people outside yourself, outside just northern Nigeria or that locality you're talking about, who may not even be part of the Islamic community, for example, although that may be the immediate rhetoric community, but the others can also buy in and appreciate. So how can you frame this research problem in a way that both the local and the broad should be interested in it? So that when you said, why should it matter to me that you should do this research? Now, from the perspective of the one who is giving the fund, how can you frame your research in such a way that the person who is going to fund this can get a sense of why it matters? So I want to ask you a few questions, for example, now. Why is it important to do this study, to just begin with? What is happening in these schools or in this context that perhaps, raises questions, which you will turn into a research question, so that you can see that while you are dealing with this single situation, which is right here, this is a problem that has the capacity of the possibility to ripple, and people can identify with it beyond this locality. That's a very important thing to consider. So now, if I may come back to you, Abubakar, and ask what because you have a certain hypothesis in your mind, even as you begin thinking of this is what I want in these schools, for example, that will require research intervention to understand the conditions of these people better, and particularly in this present context, for example, something like this. If for the sake of understanding, maybe before you even answer, maybe our colleagues can also come in with their, again, local knowledge context, because they are better informed about the local situation. They know the situation better. So I want you to respond to Abubakar's research area, please. We are now sick. Yes, please. Who is speaking?
Sidi.
Yes, Sidi.
Yes. Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah, the topic of research to me is very interesting and apt. For a very long time now, the issue of Al-Majri system in Nigeria has been a serious problem, which appears to have eluded successive governments in Nigeria so far. Like the researcher has stated, the end of this program leaves the students without any meaningful employment opportunity. So they'll be wandering about, roaming about the streets. And during their tutorship, you see a good number of them going begging from house to house. You find them in the streets begging because the teachers or the tutors cannot take good care of them in terms of feeding, in terms of option other than this has constituted a social nuisance to Nigeria for quite some time now. Now, recently, there has been a move by governments, especially northern states, to deport these Almajiris to their respective states of origin. That also has constituted a serious problem and has become controversial. Opinions differ on why the government should take that decision. Some said that instead of deporting them to their respective states of origin, they should be allowed to stay where they are. But the parents and the teachers should take full responsibility of what happens to these Almajiri students. I hope the researcher is taking serious cognizance of these issues. And then I wouldn't know what will be the target area and then the periodization of this study. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. From what you have just said, I think when Abubakar, you are framing your thesis statement, you should frame it in this manner that Sidi has talked about. It's a problem. You should problematize this Almajiri phenomenon, which is a traditional Islamic practice of educating young children in a particular way. Now you problematize this practice, which is traditional in the context of the contemporary. You know, when I heard him talk about these people are not employed, I mean they are not employable in the structures of contemporary society when they go through this sort of, and then they become a kind of challenge and burden to society. So the whole way you try to make us make sense of this situation will make us appreciate it. But it will come like, okay, this is a problem. This is a problem, not simply in the sense of the physical problem that they are actually turning out to be beggars on the street. It's a problem in the sense that this was a practice in the past that worked in the context of the way things were, the traditional Islamic practice. But situating it in the contemporary context, it is problematic. And you want to do research around this to create understanding about how this, blah, 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 and so on. So that it can really capture people in into the dynamics, because you find this phenomenon all over, not even in Nigeria, right? You find it in other parts where this sort of tutoring happens, Islamic tutoring happens in other parts. So I think it is it's a fascinating story. I mean, study if you frame the problem, which at the moment you need to work on. Thank you very much for that contribution. Abubakar, or any other person who wants to give a comment?
Okay, just a few comments.
Yes, that is Abba.
Yes, Prof. I just, as you said, Abubakar needs to detach himself from the research. He seems to be so concerned with public policy and more or less advocacy based. This, I think, AHP will not be interested.
Very true.
In funding. So he needs to look at the Almajiri phenomenon from the perspective of a cultural clash and the inability of the states to control or address the challenge created by this. In this case, it should be concerned with either looking at the paradox, the assumption, the problem, or the contradiction. This he has not been able to do. It's not enough to say that the Almajiris schools are facing a lot of infrastructural challenges or manpower challenges or lack of funding. It's not enough. I think he need to think more about the underlying factors, cultural factors that have helped to undermine the management of these schools. That's, to me, we have more merit instead of looking at it from a public policy dimension.
Really, very good. I think that's it. And now you are you see that any subject can be framed in a way that, it takes you away from, you may be so passionate about it and you may really feel for these kids in a way, but that will take another avenue of research to address. But for this one, as Abba has so well put it, yes, you will be flagged as, championing a cause, and yet for this sort of research, you are supposed to create understanding about this complex phenomenon, and it will take care of itself. That cause that you will want to have addressed will take care of itself with time. Once you make people understand the complexity of this phenomenon and how complicated it is in this particular time. So thank you very much for that input. Yes, that takes care of it. So Abubakar, back to you. I have seen a sixth person. Yep. Yes. No, yeah. I see Musa has arrived, but Musa, now you are. Musa has arrived and pulled out immediately. Yes. So Abubakar, back to you after these comments and feedback from colleagues. Is Abubakar muted?
Okay.
Oh,
hello, thank you very much, Prof, for all these comments. And some already are embedded, but it is quite true that I must look very seriously to my research problem because that's where the interest is. I wouldn't understand what my brother was saying when he talked about detaching myself from the school. Is it attaching myself or detaching? I wouldn't know.
Yes.
Then
explain this so well. Can you add that? Can you explain that again? It is actually detaching.
I mean detaching. We were told that in carrying out a research, you go into the field with your mind, with not made up. Let it not be as if you are going into the field already knowing what the issues are, because you were involved in either consultancy or that. No, I mean, you should go into the field with an open mind.
Well, yes, without having a conclusion.
Yes.
Everything is hypothetical. Except what the outcome of the research comes with. I think that's what you are trying to do.
Yes, that is partly it. But also what is also underlining is that there is a risk, there is a danger of getting in the direction of advocacy or policy, in the sense that, something has to be done to improve the lot of these people. They are suffering. They don't have these facilities. And so the detachment that you need to have so that you don't get there, because that's not your zone. As a humanities scholar, your zone is to make people understand this complex phenomenon, as just been explained. But as for whether the government will take action or should take action to do ABC is not in your docket as the researcher in this frame of field. So that's what he was outlining. Yeah, okay.
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 Thank you. Yes, I now understand.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes. But you can see that this too is a very interesting area of research.
Yes.
You see, the only thing is how to frame it in a way that it will, get people in, get people to tag along with you as you carry it out. Otherwise, as for its validity, it is. So,
okay. Prof, are we okay with the title of the research?
Pardon? What is the title? Because he has not presented a paper.
Evaluation
he spoke about it.
Yes.
What is it?
Evaluation of administrative and academic achievements of Almajiri model schools in North Central geopolitical zone of Nigeria.
Evaluation of administrative and academic achievement.
Of Almajiri model schools.
Yes.
In North Central geopolitical zone of Nigeria.
Okay, modern schools.
Okay, fine. All these model schools are what we call are interested in integrated scholarship. You know, integrating.
It's a model school. Yes, it's supposed to be integrated. Yes. Meaning what in the context of that? In the context of Nigeria.
That the modern education should come in for this Quranic school, so that they can be employable.
Not pure Islamic school, yes. It's not pure Quranic, but it's blended.
It's blended.
Okay. So this is a model school started around the time of Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Yes, okay. Yes, so
many
now
of
people,
them
let's look at
the topic. Many are spread in northern Nigeria. Like in Niger only, we have 3.
Yes. That is important. It's an important area of evaluation. I think the whole issue of having it blended was an effort at trying to solve this problem of having the Quranic schools to blend them with the modern, so that perhaps they could be employable.
Yes.
Yes, that was an effort. That was an intervention. But now you want to assess this intervention.
Yes. How are they going with this education?
Yes. And like we said at the beginning, you want to assess this intervention because you have observed certain things and there are certain questions in your mind that makes you want to find more. And the questions in your mind are the one that Sidi kind of pointed to, that these people are still a nuisance. They are not employable. They are not all of this, right? Yes. So that is, I think that's a statement that has to be very clearly put to contextualize your thesis statement there.
Yes, in the statement of the problem.
See where this is coming from.
Okay.
And therefore calling for really need to evaluate, to assess, to say, this thing, there was an intervention. What made this intervention not work? What is it? Was it, you know, what happened? Was there really an intervention, or was it on paper? Was it what? All of these questions.
Okay. Sir.
Now, as for the title, as you phrase it, perhaps when you think through also your paper on the basis of the things that colleagues have also shared now, you can rephrase this title in the sense that it still embodies the spirit of what it is you want to do.
Yes.
But phrase it in a way that, you know, catches in.
Okay. Hello?
Yes. Yes, we are left with 5,
Hello,
6
Prof.
minutes, right? Yes, please.
Yeah, please, can I make a sort of addendum?
You are most welcome.
Yes.
Welcome, CD.
Amendment in the title of this research topic.
Okay, sir.
Evaluation of of administrative and academic achievement of Almajiri modern school system.
Modern schools.
Is it model or modern?
They call it model schools. That's what they call it.
Model. Okay,
yes.
model.
Model school system.
Oh, I thought that you said modern school system. Okay.
No, model. Model.
Model. Okay.
Yes, those are the ones established in 2010 to 2015.
Yes. The periodization is.
Yes.
When do you say?
2010, 2015.
Yes.
To what? 2010,
2015. That's when they were established.
Okay, to 2015. Okay. In North Central Zone of Nigeria.
Yes. In
North Central Zone.
I should remove geopolitical zone.
It is known, North Central. You don't have to put political zone, just North Central Zone. Whereby that is my view.
Jargon can be jargonese and difficult to understand also. Like we said,
North Central Zone of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Do you mean I should put the periodization?
Yes.
In the title?
Why the commencement date for your study and then the...
Okay. I understand.
Yes. Okay. And the termination period.
Okay.
Prof.
I agree about taking away what appears like jargonese and heavy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We are left with 4 minutes for other comments so far. Otherwise, we've really done well with these 2 proposals that are still work in progress, and by the time we come to the end of this season, it will be clean. And there is even a further way of rethinking this title, by the way, because
Prof, I have one. I don't know if I can suggest.
Oh, please suggest.
Okay.
You're very kind.
Yes.
Thank you. This is Dr. Abba Danladi.
Okay.
Having listened to you, I'm just trying to make a sense of what you want to do. And I have something titled Modernizing the Cultural. Modernizing the Cultural. Then you have full column. State, religion, and the Almajiri education in central Nigeria.
Now that's another one, you see. What you do, scholar, at this point is just take these wonderful suggestions in, and yes. Even this new, I don't know you yourself, what do you think about this new suggestions?
My problem with his topic is too political. It's not too academic. Modernizing the culture.
Yes. Then you have the state, religion, and Almajiri education in central Nigeria. Because what you want to, from here listening to you,
modernizing the cultural or modernizing the traditional.
Modernizing the traditional, perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, modernizing the traditional.
and then you put the colon and those.
Then you have the state, the religion, and a Amajiri education. Because from listening to you from here, I think what you want to do is to look at the challenge that the state is grappling with in an attempt to modernize, in an attempt to transform and develop this Amajiri education using the model schools that Goodluck established. But in the bid to achieve this, the state has been handicapped. And this, to some people, is also being linked to the age-long tradition of the Amajiris not being amenable to change, easily amenable to change. That is one angle. Then there are also issues of lack of educational facilities. So as you begin to...
Yes, go on.
Yes. So as you begin to articulate your central thesis, I'm very sure that you will all these issues, all these titles are issues that you want to address. I don't know. I might be wrong because I don't have your paper. But listening to you, I think all the issues you have.
But to be honest, I like this letter title because it kind of removes this heaviness of evaluation of administrative and academic, and that it's much more creative, which is what you should make your title.
Yes, modernizing
anyway,
the tradition.
There is a lot of brainstorming that should be happening. This is a great session. I want to thank you very, very much for your participation and helping each other. Time is up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
They say leave break session.